In this video, we install the Starlink internet system to the hiker trailer. Since Sharon and I both work remotely, it is critical that we can get high-speed internet access throughout our travels. After a bit of research, it became clear that Starlink internet would be the way to go. As long as we can get a clear line of sight to the sky, we can get upwards of 200 megabits per second, which is more than enough to allow us to do our work, have Zoom calls, etc. Lots of information is available on the web regarding the Starlink system and the various packages available, so I won't repeat any of that here. In addition, the offerings change rapidly, so be sure to check the Starlink website for up-to-date information and pricing. The basic system that I purchased for around $600 included what you see here, which is the externally mounted antenna, a basic portable stand, a router, and a cable that connects the antenna to the router. I ended up purchasing another mount to enable mounting the antenna on my front roof bar as shown. This was mounted onto the roof bar bracket by simply drilling a couple of holes that line up with the mounting holes on the bracket and then bolting the mount onto the bracket. This would enable me to use a pass-through connector and store the router in my front cubby where it can plug into the 120 volt outlet that I had installed by Hiker Trailer at the factory. I used the SmartPlug stainless steel Ethernet cable connector, which provides a weatherproof pass-through. You can get one with a coax connector as well, but I only needed the Ethernet feature. The pass-through connector is simply a female Ethernet jack on the outside piggybacked to another one on the inside. In order to take advantage of the pass-through connector, I would need to cut the Starlink cable into two sections and splice in male Ethernet connectors onto each end so they could connect to each other via the pass-through. I was also able to shorten each length of the cable to fit as I needed. I didn't take any video of that procedure, but I'll try to do so in the future and add it in. First, I checked to make sure that there would be ample room on the inside of the trailer in the front cubby, which it did, and I marked the opening where it would be made. I used the foam gasket that they provided as a template for making the opening and marked the opening as well as the 4 screw locations. After locating and marking the center of the opening, I drilled a small pilot hole and then used a larger hole saw to make the opening. After checking the fit, I peeled off the backing of the gasket and applied it to the side of the trailer. The SmartPlug connector fit right in and I secured it to the trailer with the 4 screws provided. Caulking is not needed when you use their foam gasket. I then placed the Starlink antenna in the mount and connected the short cable to the outside pass-through connector. Note that later I added a 90-degree elbow to take the strain off of the connector fitting. This is what the inside of the connector looks like. I attached the second cable that has the Ethernet connector that I added at one end and the router connection at the other. I used a cable sheath and several hose clamps to secure the cable along the back of the cubby, then connected it to the router. Now all I had to do was plug the router into the 120 volt outlet and configure the system using the Starlink app. The whole setup has worked really well. When traveling, I take the antenna down and put it into the cabin of the trailer, and as soon as we arrive at camp I take it out and connect it to the pass-through. Within minutes we have high-speed internet as long as we're at a campsite with a clear view to the sky. I keep the portable mount that came with the Starlink system, as well as a second 150-foot long cable, in storage in one of my cargo cases for those situations where we do not have a clear line of sight to the sky. Most of the time I can mount the antenna away from the campsite, preferably where there is an opening to the sky and the longer cable allows me to place it up to 150 feet from the trailer to find the right spot. And most of the time, it's worked out just fine.